All right, you guys, we got a 2008 Ford Edge here, and I'm going to show you today how to change a tire with the car's jack and tools and spare tire. Okay, so a couple of things to orient you to this vehicle. So you can see that it has a little center beauty cap. So we're hoping in the tools they give us, there's something to pop that off. There's got to be a tool to take the lug nuts off and then something to jack it up. So normally what I'll recommend that you do is go to the owner's manual and go to the back of the owner's manual and go to spare tire information. Well, this car doesn't have an owner's manual because it's a brand new car, but over here in the back on the side, it's got this sheet, and this sheet gives us instructions. It says spare tire storage. To remove spare tire vehicle jack, remove carpeted load floor panel located in rear vehicle, remove spare wheel cover if equipped. So that guy there. There's a nut, there's that guy, and the tool bag is underneath. So it's showing where all the stuff is. It's also showing us how we put the jack under this little cutout area. They give you a cutout on what's called the pinch weld, and they're showing you the jacking points. Okay, so this is really nice. This gives us some information on how to do that. So underneath here, there's our spare tire, and we'll go ahead and unscrew this. Get that guy unscrewed, put that aside, and then I'll set my camera down for a moment, and I'll pull the tire out carefully without hurting my back. Okay, so the tire's out, and then down inside here is the tool bag right here. And it's got, looks like it's got a jack in it, but we'll open it up. Yep, and there's the jack. We can get this thing out with one hand while I'm holding the camera, which is easier said than done. There's the jack. There's our tool to take the wheel lugs off. There's a little tool right there on the end to take that cover off. And it also shows us our jacking points and such on the jack. There's a little sticker there. Okay, so I think we got everything we need. So let's go back up over here and we'll get ready to do this. We'll put the jack down there and we'll take our little tool here and we'll pop that off like that. And hopefully that guy comes off. And we're not going to leave this on the ground, so if we do, we end up stepping on it and then we break it. I'll put it up here and there, so it's off the ground. And now I'm going to go ahead and set the camera here. Oops, almost dropped the camera. There you can see. So now, a couple of tricks. So let's talk for a moment. You're on the side of the road. Let me get the guy here. You're on the side of the road. You got a flat tire. Before you get to the side of the road, what do? Okay, so all of a sudden you feel something really going wrong with the tire. Put your hands at 10 and 2. No sudden moves with the steering wheel, because if you got a flat tire, sudden moves, the car might want to spin and flip. That'd be really dangerous. So what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and put 10 and 2, get really stable, let off the gas. Don't apply the brake real hard, let the car slow down. If you have the presence of mind, hit the hazards flashers. If the hazard flashers out back, tell everybody there's something wrong with my car. A pulsing brake pedal says slow down, there's something in the road. Flashing hazard lights are saying there's something wrong with my car. So you're going to try and do that. Then you're going to very gently ease over, get over when it's safe, and get completely off the road. Phew. You lived through that harrowing experience, okay? Get to where it's safe. Don't stop where you're right on the edge of the road where another car could hit you. Try and get all the way off the road as far as you can. All right? Okay, so what we want to do now is I want to show you how to break the lug nuts loose using the wrench. So if we're on the side of the road, if this is the driver's side and it's on the side of the road, let me just pull this up towards me and put it up here. And so we're on the side of the road, and say cars are coming by here. Any passengers you have, you want them to get out of the car on the other side towards the hill, so that if a drunk comes along and plows into this car, people inside don't die. So obviously you want as much room away from traffic as you can, get as far away as you can. If you're in the gravel and you start using one of these jacks, it's going to dig into the gravel or sand. You're going to have to find a block or a piece of wood that you can put the jack on so it doesn't dig into the sand as you jack it up. So what I'm going to do right now is show you how we loosen these bolts. And anyone can do this, doesn't matter how strong you are. So there's the bolt there, and I'm going to go counterclockwise to loosen it. And so instead of trying to break it loose with my hands, I just step on it, and it just loosens right up. And so I can go down and just push it. I'm not trying at all. It's just really easy. And it's not so critical to loosen the star pattern. Tightening is different, but loosening is not such a big deal. So even if you're a very petite girl, you can just step on this and loosen these. Now we're not going to take these off on the ground because we don't want the tire to pop off, but we've broken them all loose. So next thing we're going to do is I'm going to grab the camera and bring it down here and show you where we're going to jack this guy up here. So the camera's looking underneath there, and there's a spot right here where there's a cutout. So I'm trying to find that spot right here. Now they don't actually have a cutout on here. Sorry, my tangled. There we go. Sorry about that. So right here is where this guy is supposed to jack up. And I think you'll see it there. So this jack has this guy right here that's going to fit right into that spot right underneath there, right there. So I'm going to start turning this clockwise, and that's going to crank that up. And you can use this guy here, to send that up as quick as you can. So I'm going to go up with it. And I'll move it here, go up a little bit. So I'm going to put it underneath there, into that spot. And this pinch weld here is going to fit right in that slot. Just trying to make sure you can see what I'm doing. So there it goes, right up in there. And so it's kind of locked onto that slot. Now, what I'll do is I'll back this up a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and put that down just a hair. And I'm going to go ahead and start turning this clockwise like this. And it's going to start jacking the car up. So here we go. And so again, these jacks will dig into the ground, or if you're on hot asphalt, they'll tend to dig into hot asphalt because they have a very small contact patch. So if I do have like a wood block, just a thin wood block that I can find on the side of the road, sometimes that helps. If you're on cold asphalt, or if you're on concrete, some sort of pavement, you're fine. Also, you don't want anybody in the car, because if somebody's in the car while you're doing this, they shake the car, it could knock this thing off, and the car could fall off the jack stand, or off the jack. When you're on the side of the road, you're not going to have a jack stand, so you never, ever, ever go underneath a car that's being lifted by one of these jacks. Okay, this is called a scissor jack. Definitely don't want to go underneath this car while it's on the scissor jack, because if this thing falls or somebody bumps it, it's going to fall, and we don't want you to die. Okay, so until the tire's coming off, I can hear it sort of making noise as the rubber from the tires making noise on the floor. Okay. So we're going up, and we're not quite off the ground yet. We're getting there. So we're going to go a little higher. Almost there. And I think we're actually off the ground now. Yeah, we are. I'm going to go a little higher, just give me some clearance. But that tire is off the ground, as you can probably see there. You can see it coming up off the ground. Okay, I've got it up off the ground significantly. And I want to remind you that whatever we do, we're not going to get underneath that car with that jack holding it up. So I'm going to go ahead and just loosen these bolts. Let me bring the camera. And I'm going to go ahead and take these bolts off, either by hand. You can take them off by hand. Here. We're going to get these guys all off. Unscrew these guys. Sure takes a lot more time than when I got my air-operated or battery-operated impact gun. That's all right. You can do this. You don't need necessarily to call AAA, although they're sure nice to have if you do need them. Get these the rest of the way off. Okay, there we go. And we'll just pull this tire off onto the ground and roll it away. And let me back up my camera a little bit so you can kind of get a more of a big picture view. So I'm going to go get that spare tire so you can see the brakes there. I'm going to get the spare tire. And it's one of these temporary or donut spares. So it says some things on this guy that you need to pay attention to. It says spare tire, okay, and it says right here, temporary use only. I think you can see that in the camera. Temporary use only. And here it says inflate to 60 psi. Sometimes they say don't exceed like 55 miles an hour, but I don't see that warning on this tire. Okay, so this is a weight saver or space saver spare. And we're going to go ahead and put this thing on here. Here we go. And then we're going to go ahead and put this on. Let me pull the camera closer. Okay. Hopefully you can see a little better. So we'll start all these guys by hand. So I'm going to get these all started down by hand. Almost there. Okay, so I'm going to give these a snug. I'm going to do it in the star pattern. Snug, snug. Remember that if you have what's called acorn lug nuts, I'll show you one. I'm going to grab one and I'll show it to you. Okay, so after we got these snugged up, our next task is to bring the jack down. And again, just reminding you again and again, we're never going to get under a jack. One of these scissor jacks all by itself. We're never ever going to get underneath the car with one of these scissor jacks. We don't want anybody in the car with one of these scissor jacks because they could easily, just by shaking the car, they could knock it off. And we're going to go down onto this wheel, and then I'm going to show you how to tighten it properly. So we're almost there. The weight of the car is back down on it, and the nuts are slightly snug, but they're not fully tightened. I'm going to go ahead and put this all the way down. All the way down so we can pack it up and put it away in the bag properly. And it's really important that you get those tools back properly in the trunk and all secured, because I can't tell you how many times I've had cars come in. People say, "Hey, can you help me with my car? There's this noise in the back." And what happens is they've gotten the flat, they changed the flat, and they didn't secure the tools, and so the tools are bouncing around in the back. It's happened a bunch. All right, so what I was going to show you earlier, that some lug nuts are what we call an acorn nut. See if I can get to focus on it. And they've got a tapered end right there. You can see the cone. We call that a taper. But they're opened. They're not blind. A blind one has something, is blocked on the back. So theoretically, you could put it on this way onto the wheel, or you could put it on this way. Yes, of course, in high school, my first time I ever did a tire, I put them on this way. That's wrong. The cone is used to center the nut, or center the hole of the wheel around the nut. So the cone always goes in towards the wheel. So that was the acorn nut that I wanted to show you. Okay, so we're back down on the ground, and it's time to tighten these up. Now, you don't have a torque wrench, so you're on the side of the road, but you got to get it tight enough so it's safe. Come this way, come down like this. You got to get it tight enough so it's safe. So you put that on there, and you just go like this, just like that. And you go get the second one like this, and you go like that. And for those of you who think, "Oh, Mr. Earl, that doesn't look tight enough," I promise you, no, that one wasn't tight enough. But you go like this, and then you go like this. And every time I do this, I'm going to check that one again, and I'll check them all. And you notice I'm going in a star pattern. So I went here, 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 now here. And that one, just a hair more. But you notice I'm not jumping on it. I'm not pushing on it like crazy. Now let's check them all again. So I get there and I go, okay, we're good. Every time I check this, after I've done it with a torque wrench and put it at 85 or 90 pounds, whatever it is, usually it's more like 85 or something. They're always over torqued. So you have a lot more force with your leg than you think. So I guarantee you that those are torqued over higher than the factory specification. So my point is, it's totally safe. Okay, even a girl is pretty petite, just give it a good push and you're good. I've checked every time with the torque wrench and they're always beyond the torque. So you have a lot more force with this with your leg than you think. If you're doing it like this, it's a little different. You've got to push hard because the size of your muscles on your arms are very different than your legs. Okay, the purpose of this is to get you to a tire store to get this guy fixed. The purpose of this is to not get in the fast lane of 101 going 75 miles an hour on that little tire that's way narrower than the factory tire. If you have to get on the freeway, you're going to be in the right-hand lane. You're going to be going 60, 55, 60, and you're going to find the nearest tire store that you can to get your tire replaced or repaired or whatever you need to do, so that it's a lot safer, so you can get back on the road safely. Don't play games with tires. The number one cause of mechanical failure, fatalities, is with tires, something wrong with a tire. So you really need to pay attention that so many fatal accidents are caused by tire blowouts because people weren't paying attention to the wear on their tire, the condition of their tires, the air in their tires, etc. So we're going to get this repaired and replaced. Okay, that's it for now.